Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Brother Esquire, and I would like to welcome you to another installment of Your Moment for Biblical Truth. Today is going to be a current event. Well, not such of a current event. It's more like a somebody. In other words, somebody asked me a question the other day. How do I know that Jesus is the rightful king of Judah if he was born, you know, from a virgin and all that type of stuff? You know, it was crazy. It was a crazy conversation. But I've already had that written down a long time ago. So what I'm going to do is simply go back and refer to that and answer this question on my show, Your Moment for Biblical Truth. And this is what I want to do. I want to pause for a second and show you a diagram that I did a while back that shows the lineage of Jesus as best as I have come to be able to break it down. So give me a second. I don't know if you can see that as good as I can, but that's the diagram that I did a while back. It shows um, Adam from Noah, all his descendants, on down to Judah, King David, Solomon, Joseph, and Jesus. And what I'm going to try to do is explain this diagram to you. Okay? Now, what I just showed you was a diagram that shows the bloodlines of Jesus. Okay? Now, it starts out from in the beginning, God created Adam, right? Now, all the way down the line, descended from Adam, you eventually come to Noah. Noah was the man that God saved during the flood. Him and his family, he saved the 8. Okay, now, Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Japheth, and Ham. From Shem eventually arose Abraham. From Abraham eventually arose Judah. Now, understand, from this point on, all names I mentioned will be Jewish. All names I have mentioned, well, let's just stick with that. All names from this point on will be Jewish, okay? From Judah comes King David. Now, this is where it splits. King David, we're going to focus on 2 of his children. One, King Solomon, and another, Nathan. Now, coming from the descendants of King Solomon, you have King Jeconiah. And then there's eventually Jacob. And then there is eventually Joseph. We all know him as the man that married Mary. Now, coming from the side of Nathan, you come all the way down until you get to a man named Haley. Now, Haley was a man that was mentioned, as far as I can tell, to have had no sons. But he had daughters, and among them was one named Mary. Now, we all know the story. The Holy Spirit visited Mary. Mary was a virgin. Joseph didn't want to take her. The Holy Spirit visited him, convinced him otherwise. He took her as his wife. Now, by taking her as his wife and adopting the child as his son, he adopted Jesus into the royal line of King David. Because you understand, Joseph was a descendant of Jacob, who was a descendant of King Jeconiah, who was a descendant of King Solomon. You see what I'm saying? Who was a descendant of King David. Okay? Now, with that being said, it's simple to see that by Joseph being from the royal line of King David, and Nathan or Mary coming from the blood of the man or the pagan side of King David, it's clear to see that Jesus was, through Mary, a descendant of King David. And by Joseph, he was adopted into the royal line of King David. And since Jesus died and rose again, then Jesus still lives. That means Jesus is still the rightful king today of the kingdom of Judea, because he is the Lion of the tribe of Judea. And God said, I will always have someone sitting on the throne in Judea. And that promise was made to Solomon. It was made to David. And Jesus is that man. So there you have it. As far as I can tell from the scriptures, Jesus was adopted into the royal line. But nonetheless, Jesus himself is royalty. He is the Son of God. Let us never forget that. I am your host, Brother Esquire, and I would like to thank you for tuning in to this edition of Your Moment for Biblical Truth. May Jesus be with you. May God guide you. I bless you. I love you. Good night.